The U.S. had big plans for former Gitmo detainees known as the Taliban 5. Fox News has learned there was a government attempt to recruit them for intelligence purposes, one that's now being described as a total failure. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Harridge has the details of what went wrong.
Fox News has learned that there was an effort by the U.S. government to recruit members of the Taliban 5 as assets to gather intelligence and to influence their future actions once restrictions were lifted. The men who were swapped for Sergeant Bo Bergdahl in May 2014 are former Taliban commanders. The option to flip them was pursued to strengthen the Obama administration's ability to prevent them from returning to terrorism. But the effort was described by a source familiar with the strategy as a, quote, total failure. The White House today offered little.
Even as a general matter, this is an intelligence matter that I won't be able to discuss from here.
The Taliban 5 were held at the Guantanamo Bay detention camps for 12 years, where these military reviews concluded they were bad actors and had, quote, high intelligence value. For those reasons, seasoned military officers believe the Taliban 5 were obvious recruitment targets.
We would definitely have tried to work that with these people because of who they are, because of the relationships they had. I mean, these were people that had significant senior positions inside this organization.
A year ago, the men were greeted as heroes in the Gulf nation of Qatar, where the terms of their confinement, including travel restrictions, were recently extended, but only on a temporary basis. They are now joined in this oil-rich nation by some 65 of their immediate family and relatives. The State Department sees no additional security risk.
Some would say that their presence might increase the men's ability to re-engage with terrorist networks.
I'm not sure why that would be the case. It seems like pure speculation to me.
A member of the House Intelligence Committee says otherwise.
Without going into the details of the numbers, they have had access to outsiders who in turn have had access to the outside. And those can't bode well for American national security.
In a statement to Fox, a National Security Council spokesman said, quote, we have relied on extensive monitoring measures and travel restrictions to prevent them from threatening our interests.
Separately, a U.S. official tells Fox News that the Guantanamo transfers will resume shortly, most likely this month, Brett.
Catherine, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now to another controversial release. Late last year, the Obama administration released 6 Gitmo detainees to Uruguay. A top State Department official certified that the men had not taken part in terrorist attacks against the U.S., but a classified Defense Department report assessment told a much different story. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen takes us inside the president's rush to close Gitmo before his term ends.
When 6 longtime inmates at the Guantanamo Bay detention facility were released to the custody of Uruguay in December, the State Department's special envoy for the closure of Gitmo, Clifford Sloan, wrote to Uruguay's president to assure him there is no information that the above-mentioned individuals were involved in conducting or facilitating terrorist activities against the United States or its partners or allies. Yet a classified Defense Department assessment pried loose from government vaults by WikiLeaks concluded that 5 of the Uruguay 6 posed a quote-unquote high risk for release because they were judged, quote, likely to pose a threat to the U.S., its interests, and allies. In a June 2007 assessment, the Pentagon described Tunisian-born Abdul bin Mohammed Abiz Orgi as a senior explosives trainer for al-Qaeda, someone with prior knowledge of the 9/11 attacks, and reported associations with senior al-Qaeda members, including Osama bin Laden. Detainee, the Pentagon reported internally, has admitted participating in hostilities against U.S. and coalition forces.
Perhaps there was additional information that showed the previous information was incorrect. I don't know that to be the case, but there may have been. We certainly stand by the information in Special Envoy Sloan's letter.
The Obama administration's 6-agency Guantanamo Review Task Force ruled unanimously in 2010 that the Uruguay 6 could be freed, but that task force's work remains classified.
So that Guantanamo Bay can be closed down, and we know that the administration is deeply committed to that philosophically. There is sort of a cavalier attitude about releasing people who are a very real threat, potentially to the United States.
Royce has asked how many other suspected terrorists with long rap sheets got a clean bill of health from Cliff Sloan.
I can say we're not aware of any additional letters from the Office of the Special Envoy to foreign governments that are similar to the one that you mentioned.
An independent analysis finds that of the 115 Gitmo detainees released since President Obama took office, 71 of them, or more than 60%, had previously been termed high risk for release. by the Defense Department's Joint Task Force Guantanamo. Brett?
Interesting story, James. Thank you. More on this.